Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today is Mrs. Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools. Mrs. Vogt, always good to see you. How are you on this Friday?
Good morning, Seth. I am fantastic. It is a beautiful day out. Kids and staff are in, and really, it's one of my favorite times of year.
It started probably pretty hot when you got kids back to school, but boy, it's starting to feel like fall, dare we say? Although I think the
Yes.
heat is back on the way next week, so let's not celebrate too soon. But how about back to school, Mrs. Vogt? When did you get the teachers and the kids in the buildings there in
Yeah.
Bement?
We had our staff come back on August 10th, Monday, August 10th, and the kids came back on Wednesday, August 12th. We did something new this year on that Monday. We had, it was our Bulldog Back to School Bash, and it was for our entire district, pre-K through 12, and we invited all of the students, their families, the community. We had a few food trucks outside for everyone to enjoy. And then we kept elementary pretty similar to what we've done in years past, where they come in, meet their teachers, drop off their supplies. But then we added an element for our middle school and high school students where they could come in, find their locker, get their schedule, walk through their schedule before that first day. And then we set up, it was almost like a job fair, except not for jobs, but for clubs and activities. We had all of our high school staff in the gym set up at tables where students could walk through and learn more about the clubs and activities offered. We had some community organizations as well. We had, Girl Scouts, PTO. We had a group that's trying to do like a local children's theater. We had our CGB Booster Club here. So just really an opportunity to, again, create that community atmosphere. And I tell you what, Monday, August 10th, Bement, Illinois was the place to be in Piatt County.
Very good. Well, kids got back on the 12th, you said, and it probably takes a few days to get everything in the swing of things, but you guys got to be rolling at this point, right?
We are, and two pretty major changes. District-wide, we changed our start time to 8 a.m.,
Mhm.
which that bumped everything up. Classes started last year at 8:15.
Mhm.
And part of the reason we did that is because at the middle school and high school level, we have transitioned from a 7-hour day to an 8 class period day. And we were able to do that. Again, we were starting a little bit earlier and shortened class times just by about 2 minutes, shortened passing periods by about a minute. So that's definitely been an adjustment to go from a 4 minute to a 3 minute passing. But I tell you what, starting earlier and having more classes, the the consensus is the days actually go faster, which I was not expecting. But
Hmm.
it's giving our students opportunities to take classes that they wouldn't typically have had time to take. And we've also added about 20 courses by adding that extra class period.
Really?
So
Wow.
it has been just such a positive change, and just again that continued growth that we've been seeing here in Bement.
Was that the driver? Just the more opportunities, that sort of thing, or was there other reasons behind making that change?
For about 3 years now, Mr. Kepley, our middle school and high school principal, has met monthly with his staff. Just he calls it his atmosphere meeting, just to keep a pulse on what's happening and what the teachers are seeing, what students need. And this idea to add that extra hour during the day came from that meeting. So it was driven by the faculty and staff. And then they are the ones who then proposed ideas for additional classes that they would like to teach. So it's been staff driven because they see that if we have students, typically we have about a dozen students who start their day at Parkland
Mhm.
taking classes, maybe automotive tech, CNA classes, early education career classes. So when those students would come back, they had already missed the first two classes here in Bement, and then it limited what was available for them for the remainder of the day.
Okay.
So our staff recognized that, if we made a slight shift in the time of day we started, and then adding that extra class period, it created a situation where those students aren't missing as many courses offered in Bement.
Gotcha. Nice. So that has gone over well, it sounds like then.
It really has. Also, at the middle school and high school level, they have implemented a digital pass system
Hmm.
where there's a Chromebook at each teacher's door, and if a student needs a pass, they're able to plug in, their name and need to go to the library, what time it is, and then when they get back, putting what time it is as they re-enter the room. That has been the thing that has been the most difficult to transition, because so often it becomes just, sign out and sign back in. So it doesn't take any more time for the digital pass system, but that has been the one thing that the feedback I've received is that's been the biggest challenge to implement that as well.
I
But
see.
again, that idea came from the staff.
Hmm. Very good. Very good. Again, Mrs. Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools, my guest on the Zoom here for this morning. Anything else on back to school, Mrs. Vogt, that you've taken note of this year?
Uh, Seth, hard to believe that it's already 2026, but we are off and running. And I think, like I said, one of my favorite times of year, just seeing everyone back in the buildings.
For sure. Yeah, very good. Very good. Now, do you guys have a fall break or anything like that? What's the calendar, the first month, first quarter-ish look like?
Sure. So, what we do is we match up our early dismissal school improvement days with any natural Monday holidays. So, next Friday, we do have an early dismissal day for students at noon. And then teachers then stay for some training. And then everyone has that Monday off. Come October, we have parent teacher conferences on 2 evenings. And so, the way ISBE lets us handle that is essentially in those 2 evenings, the teachers are working a full day. So then the Friday before what was once known as Columbus Day, the Friday before we take that as a trade day for those parent teacher conferences. So
Okay.
there'll be a nice long 4 day weekend for all students and teachers.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Those holidays coming up fast as well. It's
Yes,
it's hard to
yes,
believe. It's hard to
yes.
believe it's here, but
Yeah.
very good. Very good. And Mrs. What you were telling me before we got started, your summer was just busy keeping track of a construction project. Let's go back
Yes.
and remind folks what's going on here, and then we'll get the
Sure.
latest.
Absolutely. So we were very fortunate to have received a significant donation from the estate of Jeffrey Mills and then his family, his brother Stephen Mills, and some of Stephen's relation. They wanted to add to what Jeffrey had donated in his estate, and so at this point we have received right around $200,000 from the family. And we were able to start thinking about if we had endless funds, what would we do? And so, working with the Mills family, we narrowed it down to enclosing the space between our gym and industrial tech building. A couple of great things about it already. That first week of school is when we had like 9 inches of rain come through in a matter of 3 days or something like that. Our students were already in session. And so when there was an absolute monsoon downpour in previous years, they would have been walking outside in it. Now they're able to go through our new addition. We were able to do a ribbon cutting ceremony for that to kick off the school year. We had about 150 people in attendance. Stephen Mills and his wife Betsy were able to be there. And then I think probably the neatest thing for me, we had an alum from the class of 1944 who was in attendance. He'll turn 100 in September. And so to have somebody who has seen the transition and progress just in our facilities come to celebrate that next milestone with us it was just absolutely awesome. So yeah, we middle of September we'll have our first home game here, and so we're excited to see how the space works hosting activities. And this is also the first fall that our gym has been air conditioned. So just I feel like we're finally in the 21st century.
Very good. Well, and on that note, is the enclosure done? I mean, are students walking through it the first few weeks of class?
Yes, we still have a few punch list items that we're working through those final details, which, I compare it to a project at your house. It's like your baseboards might, it might take a couple years to get those actually finishing touches done. We're not planning on these things taking a couple of years. Our hope is here within the next 3 weeks, all of those punch list items will be finalized, closed up. But part of the project was to redo our parking lot that high school students and staff use. We were able to triple the size of it. It went from a tiny gravel parking lot to now fully asphalt, like with actual parking
Mm.
lines, 75 spaces, like
Cool.
designated crosswalks. So again, we're really trying to, as the theme that a group of our high school students came up with last year, pride in our past, faith in our future. We're so proud of what has been done in the Bement School District, and we want to provide for the future of the district as well.
That's very cool. Very good. Very good. Well, exciting times, it sounds like, in Bement. Very good. Mrs. Vogt, anything else on that construction project before we take a break here this morning?
No, I can't wait for everyone to come in and see it.
Can they see pictures of it, video of maybe that ribbon cutting, things of that
Yeah,
nature on
yeah.
whether socials or something like that?
We actually posted some pictures on our school Facebook page. So Bement CUSD Facebook page. And we have some pictures from the day of, and then also some pictures. Andrea Dunlap, she's a Bement alum, and she and I used to work together in the Monticello district. We've kept in touch. She does photography on the side. I had reached out to her just to say, hey, I'll pay you. Can you come take pictures that day? Because that's not going to be my focus.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did. And when I asked, can you please send me that invoice so we can pay you? She said, if it's okay, I'd really like to donate my time.
Mm-hmm.
So, which again, it's that community support, that support from the alum that help us keep moving things forward. But yeah,
Nice.
so I shared all of Andrea's pictures on our Facebook page.
First, so check it out one more time. How do they find those, Mrs. Vogt?
It's a Bement CUSD 5 Facebook page.
Very good. Mrs. Vogt, let's take a break. Come back with some more. Mary Vogt is the superintendent of Bement Schools. My guest on the Zoom. More to come with Mrs. Vogt on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW. Up 14. September Chicago wheat 754 and 3/4 up 12. September KC wheat 817 and a quarter up 13 and 3/4. September bean meal 337.20 up $7. September bean oil up $1.47 69.47. Energy market October Brent crude oil 89.18 down 52 cents. Opening numbers on this Friday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
Here's Matt Hart, owner of the Hart Media Group in Clinton.
It's been great. You and Ben and the entire team are doing a great job. And we're just continuing on serving the local community, right? This is what this is all about. We're here to serve our local community. We're here to tell the local stories. We're here to cover the news. So nothing in that regard is changing. Our goal is connecting people. And that's our tagline at Hart Media Group. It's connecting people.
Hart purchased the Miller Media Group in August of 2025 and looks forward to serving the community for years to come.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks again for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the Zoom today is Mrs. Mary Vogt, superintendent of Bement Schools. And Mrs. Vogt, as school gets along here, what else has kind of kept you busy? Has your Board of Education been working on anything? What comes to mind there?
Gosh, yeah. So one of the things we do each year is bring our new staff members in to our first board meeting of the year so that the board can put faces with names. So we did that back in August. And then here coming up in September, we'll have our budget hearing and approve the budget. We're still operating with healthy funds. Always keeping an eye on the bottom line though, with some of the state funding and those categorical mandates that we don't always get the money that has been promised to us, so that makes things a little bit of a challenge. But then, we're looking forward to doing some work with, we've got a staff member who's retiring at the end of the year, who's been here for 30 plus years. So, just looking at some ways that we can recognize those employees who've really dedicated their time and talent to Bement schools. So, those are the fun things to work on with the board.
For sure. How is staffing right now in the district?
Staffing, we are doing well. Starting the year, the positions that we had posted for were to add a first grade teacher because our first grade section is one of our larger ones. So we added a first grade teacher. We had a kindergarten teacher retire at the end of last year, and then the paraprofessional that had worked with her finished her teaching certification and was able to slide right into that kindergarten opening, which nearly a seamless transition. And gosh, we had a couple of other paraprofessional positions that we needed to fill. So, we have a very low staff turnover rate, which is very helpful for the continuity for students, for our administrative team. But one thing that we do have posted now is for a supervisor. We're looking for somebody to come in before school and during lunch just to have that extra set of eyes to help keep kids safe. And then we're also getting ready to post for a substitute custodian. We have one of our custodial staff members has been out on a medical leave, and our other three are doing such a great job. They're working overtime, just trying to keep everything covered, but we recognize you can't sustain that. And we don't have, a specific return date for that other full-time employee. So, we're hoping to hire a substitute custodian who would be willing to come in and help us out through this situation. And then also as our other full-time staff might need to take time off. So, I feel pretty fortunate, Seth. I'm talking about, we needed to fill some support roles, and add a section because I know neighboring districts and communities were filling quite a few full-time teaching roles.
How is enrollment looking right now?
I know. So this is a big deal for us, Seth. We had 21 new students start this year.
Okay.
We typically have 5 or 6 as a district. So we had 15 students graduate last year. And so we have replaced those 15 and then some. And so our enrollment is up by a few. We had, I think, 3 or 4 students that moved to other communities. But overall enrollment, we are doing well on. And, I'm not sure if people are aware, years ago, the average daily attendance is what was heavily used as far as funding calculations for school districts, but now it's mostly based on enrollment. So how many students do you have? And then that's how part of the funding formula is with EBF. And so to have more students enrolled absolutely helps us.
Sure. Again, Mrs. Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools, is my guest on the Zoom here for this morning. Mrs. Vogt, I know, if I'm not mistaken, isn't this the first year of the cell phone ban, or is that next year?
So this year, I think next year is when it has to be fully in place. But for us, we're not really seeing changes because we had already established that students would not have cell phones out or on during class periods during the school day. So, the way the law reads is, they can still have it during passing time at lunchtime, which had already been our policy. But what we do now, which again, most teachers had already done, there's a designated spot in each classroom where the phones have to go while the students are in that class.
Sure.
And, some of them try, hey, during homeroom, can't we use it? Well, no, you can't. But here's something that legislators don't think about. We have a number of students who are enrolled in dual credit classes through Parkland, and those classes are offered online. And so we have a couple of class periods during the day where we have students who are supervised by our staff members to do those online classes. And in order to log into their class, it's two-factor authentication, where they have to get a code on their phone in order to participate in that class. And so, I understand the big picture, but that's just one of my frustrations is when there are people making laws and rules who then don't have to live with those laws and rules. We have to live with it.
Right.
And so overall, absolutely, it's positive that kids are not on their phones during class. Absolutely. But there are those moments where they have to be. And I'm telling you what, those kids that are enrolled in those dual credit classes through Parkland, they do a great job. They get logged in, they do their two-factor authentication, and then they put the phone in the designated area.
Yep.
So
Yep.
just make it work.
Just those little intricacies, that you don't think about sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And yeah, to have just a blanket rule with no exceptions, it doesn't work all the time.
Well, on that note, Mrs. Vogt, I look at the clock, 1 minute. Anything we didn't touch on today you want to put out there for us?
Gosh, Seth, it seems like we just started, but here we are again. So we are going to continue. We're renewing our e-learning plan. You and I talked quite a bit last year when we had our boiler issues, our power outages, our fires. So our e-learning days were mostly used for other circumstances. So that is something, we have to renew it every 3 years. So
Yeah.
we're working on that and hope that we don't have to use those days this year like we did last year.
Sure, very
But
good. Well, on that note, Mrs. Vogt, I do need to let you go. Best way for folks to follow all things Bement Schools.
www.bement.k12.il.us.
Very good. Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools, my guest on the Zoom. Network News comes your way now.